The legacy of Gawker. Gawker got sold to, I believe, Bustle. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll read through this. And now, as quickly as Gawker has returned, it has imploded. At least that's what the Daily Beast says, as its only reporters quit. This story is hilarious for some really weird reasons. Apparently, so Gawker has always been aligned with more of the far left, right? After Gawker collapsed, all of its properties got sold off and purchased by Univision and became the Gizmodo Media Group. So Gizmodo was one of the Gawker brands, and they put Gizmodo in the forefront, and Gawker went nowhere. Well, apparently some dude bought Gawker, tried to revive it, and within, it's been like 4 days, okay? They officially announced the hiring of their new editor or whatever, Carson Griffith, on the 16th. I think she tweeted it out. And now, only a few days later, its only staff have quit because apparently this woman, Carson Griffith, is a bigot, I guess. I don't know. Politics don't align. And what's really funny is I don't know who this Carson Griffith person is, but she made apparently a bunch of ridiculous statements that say, like, maybe she doesn't understand the current political climate. Like, some weird comments that are kind of funny and also they're kind of offensive, but let's read it. It's funny. Gawker 2.0 is, hold on. The Daily Beast is one of the worst publications ever, period. They regularly publish fake news. They really do. I've called them out. I've tried to get statements from them. I can't verify how they claim to know certain things they do unless they're literally white supremacists. So, take it for what it is. If there's any site that, in my opinion, would be worse than Gawker, it's definitely the Daily Beast. But they have the exclusive. See, right there, exclusive. And they have this little image they made, I quit. I don't know what the point of putting a little garbage. Anyway, let's read the story. Let's read. Gawker 2.0 is blowing up on the launch pad just two weeks after the site's first group of new staffers came on board. On Wednesday morning, the site's only 2 full-time writers, former Vanity Fair writer Maya Kosoff and former Cosmo writer Anna Breslaw, announced in a statement to Daily Beast that they had left over concerns about Carson Griffith, the recently hired editorial director. We're disappointed it ended this way, but we can't continue to work under someone who is antithetical to our sensibility and journalistic ethics, or for an employer, CEO Brian Goldberg, who refuses to listen to the women who work for him when it's inconvenient, Kosoff and Breslaw said. And I gotta wonder if, okay, we're gonna read what Carson Griffith said, but maybe Brian Goldberg just dodged a bullet by getting rid of some non-professional types, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know what happened. Maybe something really, really bad happened, but based on just the story, it's kind of like someone said some mean stuff, so 2 people quit. The 2 reporters said they decided to leave the new Gawker after Bustle Digital Group, which bought the shuttered Gawker.com domain and its archives in mid-2018 fire sale, refused to oust Griffith over offensive workplace comments about everything from poor people to black writers to her acquaintances' penis size. Okay, let's tackle these issues. Kosoff and Breslaw said they met with Human Resources to complain of several instances in which they felt personally uncomfortable working with Griffith. In particular, Kosoff, a former colleague and personal friend of this reporter, described to Human Resources an incident in which Griffith forwarded an unsolicited chain email showing the editorial director's friends boasting they knew the penis size of a prominent businessman. Quote, "My one good memory from the trip, besides meeting Carson, is him in a swimsuit," one of Griffith's friends wrote, according to a copy of the thread reviewed by the Daily Beast. We got an important point to bring up. Here, look. There should be a disclosure at the beginning of this article. It says, Kosoff, a former colleague and personal friend of this reporter. What does this mean? Is this how the Daily Beast discloses that they have a personal relationship with the subject of their story? One of the big criticisms of Gawker, its properties, and these other far-left outlets is that they don't disclose their conflicts of interest. If this statement is meant to say that the writer of this article is friends with this writer, you have a massive conflict of interest, which draws the whole story into question, because friends are going to look after their friends. Thus, he shouldn't be the one writing this story, period. But what can you expect from the Daily Beast? Let's move on. Hung, another friend asked. Oh my God, I feel that is a question Carson would know, Griffith's friend responded. So what is this? Griffith forwarded an unsolicited chain email to their friends, that's kind of a weird thing to do. Like, why would you send... Maybe it was an accident. I gotta say, maybe it was an accident, because why would someone send their personal email to other people? The two reporters also relayed to Human Resources instances in which they believed Griffith, who holds a management role at the site, expressed an uncomfortably negative attitude on issues related to workplace diversity. In a Slack message reviewed by the Daily Beast, Griffith seemed to brag to GAWKER staff that she had gotten them out of a company-wide diversity training session. Though neither Kosoff nor Breslau had asked her to do so, the two ended up attending. But why would they, of all people, need to attend that diversity training? Isn't it weird that the people they want to be training wouldn't want to do it, and the people who probably don't need to be trained would do it? Actually, I take that back. Maybe they do need to be trained, because many of these people are actually pretty racist. During one of Breslau's interviews for the job, Griffith mentioned the snack selection at the office and noted that she had a snack saved in her pocket. Quote, "That's so poor person of me," she joked. That, admittedly, when I first saw the story, that made me laugh. It did. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm allowed to laugh at that joke because I grew up poor, relatively. I don't know. It just seems so stupid to get mad about that. Making fun of poor people? Is poorism going to be a thing now? I guess classism. Kosoff additionally told HR of an exchange in which Griffith took a dismissive stance towards the recruiting of a writer who identifies as non-binary. Oh, geez. Kosoff, who was tasked with recruiting some new editorial staff, wrote in a Slack message that she was going to meet with a potential staffer who is a person of color and non-binary, uses they-them pronouns. When she returned from the meeting 2 hours later, Griffith initially laughed off the preferred pronouns. LOL, is redacted a girl? Griffith asked. Okay, admittedly, I'm not going to laugh now. You can see I got a little half smile. But I did laugh when I first saw that, not because I want to be disrespectful towards the non-binary person, but the complete and utter lack of social awareness from this woman, Carson Griffith. It's hilarious. It's like, this is like a perfect sitcom. Take two social justice writers, give them a boss who doesn't have any idea what's going on in the culture war, put them together, and what do you get? A bunch of crude and poorly thought out statements where it seems like the statement, "that's so poor person of me," comes off as the super elitist, like, ditzy thing to say. Maybe, look, I haven't heard Griffith's side of the story, but this, to me, is like a sitcom in the making. The two also told HR that they were particularly disturbed when Griffith commented in the small Gawker office that it may be difficult to hire writers of color because, in her estimation, people of color prefer to only write serious pieces about race. I think that needs context. What were they actually talking about? I'm sure it's true that a lot of people do write about their identity, but it feels like there's some context missing because either Griffith is totally a bubblegum chewing ditz who has no idea what's going on, or, that's fair. Like, and the reason I say that is because you could quite literally just say, like, we're looking for a video game writer and not have, like, there are people of color, there are Asians, Latinos, Mexicans who can write about video games. Like, I don't understand where does this person live? In addition to the internal communications, Kosoff and Breslau were concerned about tweets Griffith had posted in the past, which were dug up by Splinter. Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. Now they're going to dig up the past. In a story last week, Splinter reported that Griffith used gay slurs, invoked bizarre racial stereotypes about Asians, and made derogatory comments about celebrities she perceived as overweight. It's really funny. It's like they claim to care about these things, but there's a viral tweet. It's probably got like 60, it's probably got 100,000 retweets right now about those MAGA kids from Covington yelling, "Build the wall." And the woman who tweeted it did the same thing using racial slurs and homophobic slurs. Nobody cared about that. Nobody cared when Sarah Silverman wore blackface or Jimmy Kimmel wore blackface, but they cared that some kids back in 2011 at Covington were in blackout paint for a basketball game. So forgive me if I don't take your word for it when you claim to be offended by old homophobic slurs. How many people called for James Gunn to get his job back over the things he said, and then how many of the same people criticized Kevin Hart for the jokes he made, even though he apologized for them? This world is nuts. The culture war is crazy. Everybody's crazy. There you go. The two reporters told the Daily Beast that they refused. They refused Bustle Digital Group's offer to be moved to other websites within the company, and also refused a severance package that included a non-disparagement agreement. Aside from its controversial hires for the new Gawker, BDG, Bustle Group, has recently faced criticism for how it has handled several others' sites that Goldberg purchased at bargain prices. Last week, the Daily Beast reported that former Mike.com editorial staffers were furious that Bustle hired writers to complete articles partially written by the unionized staffers who were fired en masse shortly before Mike's sale to Goldberg last year. So, is it any surprise to anyone that Gawker is having trouble? Look, why would someone buy Gawker? No, seriously, like, why would you buy that property? It's shut down. There's no point. If you want to make a site, make a new site. The name doesn't do anything for you. And I'll take this opportunity to bring up, YouTube channels have done this too. So I was a guest host for something called, I think it was called like Test Tube, and then it became Discovery News, and then it became Seeker, and then it became Now This. And so quite literally, the one video I did means that I can say I collaborated with all of those companies because they kept changing the name. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. They're not going to go to your YouTube channel. They're not going to go to Gawker.com. Gawker's gone. It's dead. Get rid of it. Sorry. And this is what happens. And this is actually really, really funny. I mean, I don't know who this Bustle guy is, Brian Goldberg, but this woman Griffith sounds like, okay, I'm going to say this. Carson Griffith sounds like she'd probably be pretty fun to party with, but maybe she doesn't understand like social cues and what's going on. But I will add, most people don't. Like, I think it's fair to say Carson Griffith in the wild, like walking around New York, probably has no problems. She can probably make these jokes. Nobody cares. But when you put someone like that into Gawker, or somebody who wants to work at Gawker, and I think it's also important to point out that like these digital media companies are just infested with far left identitarians, this is what will happen. Will Gawker survive? Yeah, probably. Dude bought it for a decent amount of money. I mean, it was a fire sale, but he's probably not going to walk away. So there you have it. Gawker, within only a few days, has already faced massive controversy over social justice issues. Congratulations. Welcome to the future. This is probably going to happen all the time. And maybe you need to go back to the way Vice did things. Non-traditional workplace agreements. Guess what? If you work here, you're going to hear a whole bunch of offensive things from offensive people, and you're going to look at offensive pictures. Welcome to the real world. Stick around, I got more videos coming up, and I'll see you in a minute.